This video is called Trip Your Addiction Trap. Whatever your addiction is, it is important to fully understand the pros and cons of your addiction at all times. We would all love to live in a fantasy world where we could just magically stop any addiction at any time. But it doesn't work that way because there is always something we like a lot that keeps pulling us back in. I tried to get out, but it just kept pulling me back in. One secret to success is to understand what your addiction trap is. An addiction trap is any activity you do which will lead you back into full-blown addiction. So we need to be aware of, and very afraid of, any activity which will trap us and cause us to be enslaved by the addiction. For example, we have the sugar addict. Now you may not be a sugar addict, but what I want you to do is think about what traps you with your addiction. With a sugar addict, now they don't necessarily eat large meals, but when they eat one thing with sugar in it, it leads to 2 things, then 4 things, maybe 8 things, and so on and so forth. So in this case, the trap is baited with sugar. In this example, let us look at how 2 different people's days may play out. In situation number 1, our dieter is determined not to overeat today at work. In situation number 2, our second dieter has a blueprint for success. The blueprint calls for a small bowl of bean soup for lunch, along with some carrots. The question is, which person do you predict will give in to the always available cookies? Person number 1 who is very determined, or person number 2 who is very determined and who is also prepared? Yes, both people can raid the cookies, but your odds of resisting cookies double or triple when you have a full stomach. In this case, we have sprung the trap, which is the cookies filled with sugar, before we got in it by using the blueprint of preparation. In this scenario, the addict understands that if they don't prepare a good lunch, they will be in severe temptation. So, when the cookies are available, their hunger may start them down a slippery slope, which they likely can't handle. Here's a key point from Michael Hardiman from his book Overcoming Addiction. For someone who has an addiction problem, there is no such thing as one drink, cigarette, bet, or fix. This is very important affirmation because the temptation is almost always couched in terms of just one. He recommends writing this tip on a card, leaving it in your pocket, and reading it once a day. You can also spring the trap shut with alcohol or chemical addiction. If person number 1 is determined not to party on Friday night, they may succeed. But if person number 2 is determined not to party on Friday night, and they have a fully scheduled course of action to get them through the night, they have an advantage. Here's the key point. The more addicted you are, the more you need to be prepared for your every move. In this example, person number 2 has a plan to play pool with non-partying friends. Then they will hang out with Johnny, who wants to support their dedication to change. Then they intend to go to bed at 1 a.m. sharp. In this scenario, they now have some power, and that power is their plan. And if they simply follow their plan, they will spring the trap shut before they get caught in it. Key point number 3. You need clean people around you if you are going to stay clean. In this last example, our hero played pool with sober players. If they are a true addict, they may not prefer to hang out with a sober crowd. We don't really know these people as well as we know our normal crowd. Additionally, they may be a little unsure about us. So it is important to remember that it will take hanging out with these new people several different times before you can accurately know how well you fit in. It may also take 5 to 8 different times for your head to clear up. What I mean by this is, even if your new friends are perfect for you, and even if what they are doing is great fun, you may not enjoy it at first. The reason is, if your mind can only think about your habit, it will be hard and it will take extra time to make new friends. So since you probably have to make new friends to break your addiction, you need to make it happen no matter what. Here are some rules to follow to break away from the crowd you hang out with now. Number 1, be ultra aggressive in finding new sober friends. Always smile and try to be friendly. Be patient. It will not happen in one day, but always be persistent. If you never give up on finding a new crowd, you will find one. Number 2, be the person who suggests clean activities. If you don't have something to do, you will likely fall into an addiction trap. Number 3, always have a backup plan. If you can't find something interesting to do, have a plan to do something, a hobby, sport, game or spiritual activity, etc. Number 4, although being busy is important, try to not overdo it. When you are tired, watch some TV or read or get some sleep. Having a good balance in your life is one key to success. When trying to find a new crowd, it is very important to go the extra mile to make it a good night. Make a great effort to treat these new people well. Even if you feel like crap, try to be the person who has love for people. Make an effort to always going around treating people with respect and with some genuine caring for them. If you do, you will be surprised at how much better life can be. So let's get hardcore about addiction. Addiction is slavery. It tells you what to do, when to do it, where to go, and how to act. Even if you love your addiction, I recommend that you tell yourself 20 times a day that addiction is slavery. Now, if you think that's a good tip, you may want to write yourself a note until you can develop that habit. So, at its worst, addiction drives you to destruction, and at the very least, it enslaves you into a habitual trap that will keep you from any chance of fulfilling your life-given purpose. The rest of this video will contain only advice that is spiritual in nature. Addiction is slavery, just like all sin is slavery. The reason the Bible is so against sin is because sin always leads to destruction. For many people, there are sins which are trigger points to your main addiction. Many secular programs want to solve your main addiction while leaving other sin in your life. The drawback to that method is it doesn't always work all that well. Plus, you will never find your God-given purpose that way. Having said that, if you find any program that helps you, it is a good thing, as long as it is not against Christianity. The first step to help with addiction and to overcome sin in general is to put a priority on daily Bible study. Read a chapter from the New Testament and one from the Old Testament each day. Then put a priority on doing what it says to do. Every person who makes it a priority to follow God's ways will find fullness of joy in their life to some extent. Every person who makes it a priority to follow Jesus' ways in full, which is to obey his ways and to spread the gospel, will always have fullness of joy. So, make it your goal to have fullness of joy, say in 5 years or in some time period. Right now, if you make positive changes, you may only have a small bit of joy. But get started so that you know you are on the right track. Then grow your momentum daily through Bible study and prayer. And then over time you will find your purpose and your joy will be full. Thank you for watching.